What's up everyone? Welcome to 찐영어 매운맛, which is also 찐매 YouTube page. I have no idea how you found this page, but I'm so glad you're here. So, what are you gonna talk about today? Today, we're gonna talk about... Guess what's inside? The answer is... Top 2 podcasts. Last time I have shown the way how to listen to the podcast, which is especially in terms of the news podcast, the daily, right? From now on, except for the daily, I just want to share my favorite podcasts. So every day I listen to them and then I want you to listen to them too. I guarantee, I'm so sure, I'm confident that this video gives you something special, even the English teacher have no idea. Before you get into it, I just want to give you a little tip for you. Please don't listen to the podcast which tell you about English speaking or listening, something kind of the study, right? English study, blah blah, 어쩌고저쩌고. Please don't listen to them. I'll tell you why. It doesn't help you to train yourself or train your English comprehension at all because it's too slow and too clear. They speak very clear and very slow because all the listeners of them are foreigners, non-English speakers, right? So because of that, they just speak very slowly and then they speak very clearly. So they just think of that, oh, right, this sound is very great and I can understand what they're saying. So, oh, wow, my ears are very, improved, right? My English is very improved and my English is very advanced. So, wow, I feel great. Wow, this is great. But after that, they're standing in front of the real foreigners, right? We are English speakers, and then they just sound very fast and very unclear. Very unclear, right? So they just pause and they just face some kind of reality, right? So they just kind of stop. Oh. Okay, this is not what I expected, right? That's how it works. So don't listen to any podcast who tell you about the English study or English listening comprehension, right? So I strongly recommend you to listen to the podcast native English speakers enjoy, right? So you should listen to the podcast every native speaker enjoys, okay? Number 1, Office Ladies. Remember that? I told you before, right? So this is my favorite podcast ever. Each week, Jenna Fisher and Angela Kinsey break down an episode of The Office and give exclusive behind-the-scenes stories that only 2 people who are there can tell you. This is Office Ladies. Ladies and gentlemen, you should listen to that. It is so funny and it takes each episode takes about an hour, but I feel like it feels like maybe it takes 30 minutes, I guess, because it's so funny, right? Only if you're willing to listen to it, you'll enjoy it. I promise you, because it's so funny. But there's one condition. Before you listen to the podcast Office Ladies, you should watch The Office first, because this podcast handles all about The Office, the TV shows, right? So you should listen to the TV show The Office first, and then you can enjoy listening to the podcast Office Ladies. Number 2, passenger list. You should never listen to this podcast when you are supposed to fly. So this is one of the best new podcasts of 2020 in New York Times. So they introduced this podcast, a podcast that you should never listen to on an airplane. This podcast might interest you, I promise you, and I love this podcast so much. I feel sad because the most of Korean who enjoy listening to the podcast, they have no idea what it is and they have no idea what passenger list it is. Okay, here's the story. Atlantic Airlines Flight 702 has disappeared mid-flight between London and New York with 256 passengers on board. Caitlin Lay, a college student whose twin brother vanished with the flight, is determined to uncover the truth. There is no explanation and there is no directions. There are only BGM sound and talking. That's all. So if you watch the movie Search, so you can find it very unique and very different from any other movies, right? So this is the same thing. This podcast is very unique and very different from any other podcast. So there is no explanation. So you just imagine. You just imagine. So how the story goes and how it feels like. So it feels so real. It feels so real, and I just feel like I'm in the middle of the NYC. So it is so funny and it is so interesting. So if you love the drama thriller, there is no exit for that. So far, the passenger list and season 2, 8th episode. So every season had 8 episodes. So I hope the new season will come up very soon. I promise you feel the same and you find it very funny and very exciting and very interesting. Here's a recap. Number 1, don't listen to any podcast that gives you study skills because it is too boring and it is too clear and too slow. So it doesn't help you at all. Okay, number 2, The Office ladies. So if you enjoy watching TV shows The Office, you must listen to the podcast The Office ladies because it gives you tons of the behind the scenes stories of the TV show The Office. So you should listen to it, okay? And then number 3, passenger list. I just blown away. I strongly recommend you to listen to the podcast, The Passenger List. The Passenger List is a very great story and I hope you like it too. So, thank you for watching this video, and if you enjoyed, please make sure to subscribe and comment below. Let me know your thoughts. Thank you so much. Love you so much. Bye bye.